They say you don't teach your first year teaching high school, you just survive it. And by the end of my first year, that's all I was trying to do. Survive and get the hell out. See, the thing was, when I set up my classroom and hung up my James Dean poster that said, "Dream as if you'll live forever, live as if you'll die today," I knew I was going to be Robin Williams in Dead Poet Society and blow these kids' minds. I was going to open up new worlds and help these kids find out who they were and inspire. I mean, that's the only reason people become teachers. And that's why in Florida, on average, people leave the profession after 2.5 years. Because they don't tell you about the crappy parts of the job, like the meetings and paperwork and bureaucracy. They don't tell you about the boredom of repeating the same exact lesson plan 5 times a day and trying to make it exciting. They don't tell you that you're not Robin Williams. The education system isn't Dead Poet Society, and your students are definitely not Ethan Hawke. And they never have the guts to tell you the worst thing of all. So it's April, deep into my first year, and it's almost done. And I'm calling in favors everywhere, trying to line up a new job so I can leave. The enthusiasm I had at the start of the year has dwindled to complete apathy. I'm teaching theater history, which I love, but the kids hate. I'm teaching Algebra 1, which I really love, but the kids really, really hate. And now we've reached 20th century drama and theater history, and I bring in this playwriting exercise I loved in college, where you read from a Harold Pinter play and try to write dialogue emulating his style. Obviously, this was a huge hit with the high school kids, because nothing relates to them like a middle-aged white British playwright. And I'm getting more and more frustrated as the lesson plan just bombs class after class. And when the last bell rings, all I want to do is get out of there, drink a beer, and bitch about these stupid teenagers. But Joe hasn't left the classroom. He's sitting there waiting to talk to me. Now, Joe's your average student. He's 5'10", blonde hair. He looks like he could be my kid. He's a good kid, but he doesn't always make the right choices. He's smart, but he doesn't get straight A's. And he walks up to me and says, "Hey, Mr. Bauer, I really like that scene we read from Betrayal. I want to read the whole play. Is there any way I can borrow the book?" And I look down at my copy, this book right here, and I know in my heart, if I give him this, I will never see it again. And I'm about to say no and put it in my bag, and that Robin Williams inside me just won't let it go and says, "Sure, Joe, but seriously, get it back to me, okay?" And Joe's face lights up, and he takes the book, and he holds it like it's a Bible, and he leaves. The very next day, I don't even have Joe in my class, and he's in my room at lunch, and all he wants to talk about is Pinter. He hasn't just read Betrayal, he's read every play in the book, and he gets them. A 14-year-old white kid in West Palm Beach should not understand Pinter the way Joe does. And it's in this moment that we're just talking about Pinter that I realize this is what teaching's all about. It's not those crazy big moments you see on TV and in film. It's giving a kid a book, him reading it, bringing it back and wanting to talk about it. And I go home that night, and I tell my wife, I think I'm going to give it another year. And she goes along with it. She thinks I'm a little crazy, but she goes along with it. And I go about being the best teacher I can be. I work so hard to try to recreate moments like that each and every day. And I never have Joe in class again, but I see him in the halls and at assemblies, and the occasional time he pops into my classroom and says hi, but that's really just because he's dating my favorite student at the time. And in that time, he's not tearing up the world academically, and he's not making the right choice all the time, but he always says hi to me, and my face always lights up when I see him, because I think about that time. And he has no idea, none, that I stay teaching because of him. So I get this crazy idea in my head, this teaching guru, Robin Williams moment. I envisioned Joe in his cap and gown at graduation and me giving him the Pinter book and telling him how much he taught me and how powerful and big that moment was. The summer before his senior year, Joe fell asleep driving his car. He was taken off life support about a week later. When no one has the guts to tell you, that's the worst thing about teaching high school, is that not every kid survives it.